These are the best, the softest, the most buttery and delicious rolls you will ever have made fresh at home. And I'm gonna show you how to make them. All right, if you're gonna make rolls, let's make it count. You want a good recipe that is easy to make at home and everyone is going to love them and ask you for the recipe because they're just that good. Let me show you.
Don't be intimidated. This is gonna be a lot easier than you think and everyone's gonna love them.
Okay, first thing we need is we're gonna need 3/4 cup milk. Okay, here's the deal. These are so delicious that I normally double this recipe, but we are out. We are out of so many things right now. It's time for me to go monthly grocery shopping and I'm not prepared.
I'm shopping tomorrow, but I need the rolls for today. Okay, 1/4 cup of butter. We're taking the milk, putting it in a pan over medium heat. We're just gonna cook this until the butter melts and the milk is warm. You don't want your milk to boil. You don't want it to get scalded. Have you ever heard of that word, scalded?
So we got the milk, we got the butter. Now we need 1/2 cup of sugar. So we're gonna take it over here, dump it in.
When's that wall gonna be finished? I don't know. Maybe by the new year?
Okay, now we just stir it around like a saw. Let me show ya. Okay, so I want this over like medium heat. Really all you need is the sugar to dissolve and the butter to melt because this is gonna have to cool down before you add it to everything else. So we're getting this started and then we're gonna work on the yeast. This is simple so far, right?
Got a helper coming in.
I brought a little candy to add in.
Nice. So we have 1 cup of hot water, and then this is the yeast I use. Have you ever seen this yeast at your Costco? Have you ever seen this yeast at your Costco, Matt?
Yes.
You have? I mean, it just works every time, and sometimes I can just put this, when I'm making cinnamon rolls or whatever, I just put it straight in. So to the water, we're gonna put a heaping tablespoon of yeast.
Yes.
And then 1/2 tablespoon of sugar. The sugar is what's gonna feed that yeast. And then, I don't know, I've been told like my whole life, don't mix it, just like gently, whatever. But I mix it, so go for it, Mav, mix it. Do your thing.
Mix it around gently.
So that's gonna sit while we wait for our milk mixture to cool down a bit. We don't want it hot because we're gonna add egg to it. Okay, this is the weirdest part of the recipe. You only need 1/2 an egg. So this is what you do. Crack it open, then you're gonna scramble it. You wanna scramble it? All right, get it, boy.
Yes, look at our yeast. Our yeast is looking happy and fed. We've got our eggs scrambled. We're only gonna pour in 1/2 of that. So to our standing mixer, we're gonna pour in our melted butter and milk. Here, Mav, you wanna film me? Into the big bowl we go. Then, this is what I keep my flour in. I buy the big giant 20-pound thing, and then I keep it in this. You get this at Lowe's. It's food grade. Anywho, we're just gonna mix 1 cup of flour into the butter.
Can I put it in?
Yep. And then we're gonna mix that in, and that's gonna cool down the butter, and then we'll add in 1/2 of the egg mixture.
And the salt.
So sometimes what I do, because this isn't very much, I'll just grab the hook and kind of like mix it. So now that's cooled down the milk a little bit. Then we're gonna pour in just 1/2. It's tricky. This is the trickiest part of the whole recipe. 1/2 of the egg. There we go. Mix that in.
All right, now we're ready. Look at this yeast. Oh yeah. Can you see? Can you see the yeast? It's so happy. We're gonna pour it into the bowl and we're gonna add 3 more cups of flour.
1, 2, 3. That's all the ingredients. I'm telling you, this is easy. Okay, now it's gonna mix. I almost forgot the salt. 1/2 tablespoon of salt. Yes, that is tablespoon. 1/2 tablespoon of salt. Okay, soon it's gonna look like this. Let me get you a good shot. It's still really wet and pretty sticky. It's super sticky. So we're gonna start adding in 1/2 cup of flour. I think the reason why bread is tricky is because your altitude and the humidity can play a big part into how it turns out. But still, don't worry, it's gonna be fine. We're gonna add in 1/2 cup of flour at a time and I'm gonna tell you when to stop. This is what it's gonna look like when you first turn it on, just like this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna scrape down, make sure that it's mixing. It's still pretty wet. Okay, see how that's still pretty wet and sticky? I'm gonna come in with about a 1/4 cup of flour now. Give that a mix. Okay, perfect. Now look, still a little sticky, but not that bad. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna spray this bowl.
We're gonna put this dough to a ball and then put it into the sprayed bowl. This helps it rise. The rising part is important. And this is also why I'm not showered, because it needs to rise for like a 30 minutes to an hour. So we're just gonna let this bad boy sit in here for a minute. And kind of just like make it into a ball. Doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't even have to be pretty. There's a ball, easy. Now we're going to, you could cover it with a towel. You could cover it with whatever you want. And it doesn't need to be sealed perfectly. I'm using plastic wrap. That's okay. If you don't want to use plastic wrap, you use what you want to use, you know? So now leave this in a warmish area. If it's wintertime when you're making this, maybe put it next to your oven. You don't want to have a lot of breeze going on. Let me show you something really cool. You do not need this, but this is just cool. We redid our kitchen this year, put in this oven, and look what our oven has. A bread proofing setting on the oven. So, ta-da! It just heats it to like a nice warm 95 degrees. So this is gonna set for about 30 minutes. Watch, look it. This is gonna be magic. Ready? About 30, 45 minutes. Here we go. All right, it's proofing. The bread is rising. We want it to double. While it's doing its thing, I'm gonna go get myself ready for the day. And ta-da! Look at how much it's risen. Okay, so now we're gonna start rolling these out, and then they have to rise one more time. I forgot to put the butter on top before you cut it, so this is gonna be tricky. This is how you should do it. Roll it out, get a 1/4 cup of butter that's soft like this, sprinkle it like this, and then use your hand to kind of like melt the butter to push it all over. Okay, here's how you roll them to make them look like this. You want the triangle pointing away from you, then you start at the fat end, roll it up just like this. Put them on your cookie sheet, and then you're gonna cover them and let them rise for about 15 minutes. All right, so these have been rising for 15 minutes. So we're gonna take off the covering and then put them in the oven at 350 for like, I think 12 to 15 minutes. You gotta watch them, depends on your oven. You just want them golden brown. Okay, let's see how they look. This has been 13 minutes. I have a convection oven, so I can cook 2 trays at once. And these, oh yes, listen, can you hear it? Beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna put this one in for 2 more minutes. While that's going, we're gonna melt some butter. And here comes the last step. Take your melted butter and you brush it across all of your rolls. There you have it. Look at them. Oh, they are so good. I told you it's not that hard. You can do it. We will put the written recipe down in the description so you can make these for Thanksgiving. You can make them for Christmas, for New Year's, for a summer picnic. Whenever you're watching this is the perfect time to make these. Let me know when you're making them and what you're gonna use them, what you're gonna bring them for. Maybe it's like family dinner. I don't know. Leave it down in the comments. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.